We're inside the War Museum in Auckland, and we're in the Maori Court area. Here is a big, long canoe. Some guys up here sticking their tongues out. This is the last of the great Maori war canoes. It's 25 meters long and can carry 100 warriors. This was a storehouse, but it was very elaborately carved. I'm going to be entering an ancestral home.
Shoes on.
Elaborately carved and painted inside, with weavings between the carved wood. This is a display of children's toys. And up here is my car, but my car was not a convertible. The kamikau is a dugout sailing canoe with an outrigger. The sail is made of woven plant fibers and can drive the canoe at speeds up to 8 or 9 knots. Kava was the most important goddess of one group of Polynesians. This image of Kava was carved using tools of shell and stone in the early 1800s. This shows a fictional Maori settlement, not an actual one. Over here we have gardens. Here's some fishermen coming back after a day out catching dinner. This was a former dwelling, and after the chief of this settlement died, they abandoned the site and built this bigger, fancier fortress and community over here. This is a natural history section, and we do have dinosaurs. And this is a moa, M-O-A bird. They grew to 3 meters tall. And this is a female. The males were shorter. And here's what it looked like around here 80 million years ago. And here is the native bird of New Zealand, the kiwi. And people from New Zealand are known as Kiwis. Here's a big display on volcanoes. Evidently, there's volcanoes all over this area, and this museum is built on the crater of one of them. It's one of 48 volcanoes that have erupted in the Auckland region in the last 250,000 years. The most recent was 600 years ago. Maybe about 30 kilometers. Okay, here's a Spitfire. Spitfire was possibly the most famous of a long line of aircraft designed and built in Britain. The first one appeared in 1935. In 1936, it got the name Spitfire. New Zealanders filled many roles in the Royal Air Force during the Second World War as volunteers and as trained pilots, crews, and ground crews throughout the war. glass window at Westminster Abbey commemorating the Battle of Britain. Panels in the window represent each of the fighter command squadrons that took part in the Battle of Britain, including the Royal New Zealand Air Force. Since World War II, the New Zealanders fought under the Blue Beret, meaning the United Nations, and they've been trying to keep the peace in all of these places. World War II dead. And here are the actions by a couple of different battalions. And more deceased down on this wall. This commemorates the RAF Lancaster bomber crew after returning from a night operation, and honors over 2,000 New Zealand airmen, all volunteers who lost their lives while flying with the RAF during World War II in Europe. This is depicting the trench warfare during World War I. Life in a front line dugout, and it was cold and snowing and wet and muddy. The survival rate was pretty low. Well, here's how you could check out what's going on up above, I guess. These are some bunks in here with a low ceiling, but at least it is wood. Here they are, maybe Ypres, but somewhere in France, eastern France, during World War I. I guess the wars between the New Zealanders and the Maoris started in 1840. So it appears the fighting went from 1840 to 1872. To go along with their Spitfire on the other side of this museum, they have a Japanese Zero. Not a recreation, but an actual one. There's not too many of them that survived the war, but this is one that did.